The CEO was seconds away from signing a $40 million contract when an ordinary employee suddenly caught his wrist. "Don't sign it." The room fell silent. Richard, the other company's representative, smiled. Then the employee pointed to one line near the bottom of the contract. Daniel looked down. Something was wrong. If stories about courage and hidden truth mean something to you, leave a like, subscribe, and keep watching. Daniel had spent 20 years building his construction company. At 56, he was known for fast decisions. That confidence had become his weakness. He trusted numbers more than people. That afternoon, he was preparing to sign the largest partnership of his career. Richard sat across from him. Beside Daniel stood Michael, a contract coordinator who had worked for the company for nearly 6 years. Michael rarely spoke during important meetings, which was why nobody expected him to interrupt. Daniel lifted the pen. Michael stepped forward. "Wait." He pointed toward the final page. "The payment schedule." Richard gave a short laugh. "You've had the contract for a week." Michael's hands were trembling. He rubbed his thumb until the skin became red. "What did you see?" Daniel asked. Michael pointed to a percentage in the final payment section. "The version I reviewed yesterday had a different number." Daniel read it again. The difference looked small, but over $40 million, it would cost his company millions. Richard leaned back. "That sounds like a formatting mistake." Michael shook his head. "It isn't." Michael placed the previous version beside the printed contract. The numbers were different. Someone had altered the agreement. "Who sent the revised copy?" Daniel asked. Richard answered immediately. "My legal team." Michael checked the history. The final version had been uploaded at 2:17 that morning. Only 3 accounts had access to the final contract: Daniel, Michael, and one external account connected to Richard's company. Then Daniel noticed something worse. The altered file had been uploaded using his own digital signature profile. Someone made it look as if Daniel approved it. Richard's smile disappeared. He suggested discussing the matter privately. Daniel refused. "If this is a mistake, we can discuss it here." Daniel told Michael to preserve the contract versions. He looked at the timestamp again. 2:17 a.m. He remembered where he had been. At home. His phone had been locked inside the company safe. Someone had used his credentials while he was asleep. If Daniel signed it, the altered terms could later make him responsible for millions he had never approved. And whoever changed the document expected nobody to notice one small number. Michael had. Daniel looked at him. "Why did you check that line?" Michael lowered his eyes. "I almost didn't." "Then why did you?" Michael pulled an older document from his folder. The same percentage appeared there. Daniel stared at it. It was a contract from a construction project his company had completed 2 years earlier. Michael spoke quietly. "I noticed it last month." Daniel looked between the 2 documents. The same change had appeared before. It wasn't a formatting error. Someone had been doing this for years. And suddenly, the $40 million contract looked like only one piece of a much larger problem. Daniel suspended the meeting and asked Michael to bring every version of the contract from the company archive. Michael returned with 7 agreements. The altered percentage appeared in all of them. Each change was small enough to escape attention, but together they represented millions of dollars. Daniel had trusted his systems. Now he wondered whether someone had learned how to use those controls against him. Richard asked to speak privately. Daniel refused. Daniel noticed something strange. Richard wasn't asking about the money. He was asking whether Michael had copied the files. He ordered an independent audit of the payment records connected to the altered contracts. The results came back that evening. Money had been leaving through a consulting company that officially had no connection to Richard's firm. Yet the company shared an address with one of Richard's private offices. Daniel confronted Richard the next morning. Richard denied knowing anything about it. Michael placed another document on the table. It showed payments from the consulting company shortly after each altered contract was approved. Richard finally admitted he knew about the arrangement. Someone inside Daniel's company had offered him a way to reduce the partnership price without Daniel noticing. Richard had accepted because he believed Daniel would never check the details himself. But Richard insisted he had not created the changes. Daniel reviewed the access logs again. One employee had repeatedly opened the old contracts late at night. It wasn't Michael. It was the finance director who had worked beside Daniel for 12 years. Daniel ordered the employee's computer secured. Before investigators arrived, the finance director resigned. A search of the company records revealed a private account receiving payments from the same consulting company. Investigators also found false invoices and transfers matching the altered contracts. The truth became clear. The finance director had been stealing money through tiny changes for years. The $40 million agreement was supposed to hide the accumulated losses inside one enormous transaction. Daniel sat alone that night, staring at the pen he had nearly used to sign the contract. Michael found him there. "You saved the company," Daniel said quietly. Michael shook his head. "I just noticed something." That was enough. The finance director was arrested after investigators traced the payments and recovered deleted records. Richard cooperated and admitted accepting the discounted terms, but evidence showed he had not created the fraudulent documents. Daniel changed the company's approval system. No major agreement could ever again be signed without an independent review of every financial revision. Months later, Daniel returned to the same conference room. The $40 million contract was gone. On the table sat a smaller agreement for a community construction project. Michael placed it in front of him. Daniel read every page himself. Then he smiled. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who believes speaking up can prevent a disaster. And tell us, if you were Daniel, would you have stopped the deal after discovering one small change? Subscribe for more stories about courage and hidden truths.